Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He's a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. And I want to discuss your recent deployment to the border with the Air National Guard, the U.S.-Mexico border. Let me start, though, with these late-breaking developments on the Mueller report. As you know, President Trump supports the release of the report. He says he has absolutely nothing to hide. Do you think that's the case, or could the full report contain information that is maybe not legally damaging, but politically damaging, even if it doesn't amount, let's say, to a crime?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's in it. So there can be anything in there. What I do know is that the Attorney General said there was no Russia collusion. And, you know, as somebody that supported the independent counsel investigation at the beginning, I made it clear that if I support this, the hope was to take this out of the political realm. As we know, the last 2 years, it stayed political regardless, but that we all would accept the results of this investigation. And as somebody that said, let's do this, now to see my friends on the other side of the aisle now setting up that, well, we have to see the full report. Okay, well, we're going to see the full report. Well, there can't be any redactions. They're putting up a standard that's unachievable because I think they've invested so much in this Russia collusion narrative, they can't afford to lose it. So I don't know what's in it. I think we're going to get a really good idea of what's in it, but there has to be redactions in this because we have to protect people that spoke, frankly, openly, knowing that some of that was going to be protected, like in the grand jury, which is extremely important for our justice system.
The House Intelligence Committee Chairman, Adam Schiff, he's of course a Democrat, he just tweeted this. He said, Congress has asked for the entire Mueller report and underlying evidence by April 2nd. That deadline stands. In the meantime, Barr should seek court approval, just like in Watergate, to allow the release of grand jury material. Redactions are unacceptable. Hashtag release the report. What's your reaction to that?
So first off, Watergate was Richard Nixon being corrupt and then resigning. This is not the same thing. It's been found out that the president did not collude with Russia. So to compare this now to Watergate, and this is Adam Schiff who, you know, look, I get along with Adam Schiff personally, but we all have to admit that for the last 2 years, he would come on every television network he could get in front of and say, I have information that I'm privy to, that I can't say what it is, but I have information I'm privy to that's going to prove Russia collusion. And he became a nationwide name off of that. People didn't know who Adam Schiff was 2 years ago. They all know who he is now. He used that to become famous or to become known. And now what we're seeing is, in fact, there was not that information.
Well, let me ask you this.
Look,
do you agree?
I like him as a person.
Do you agree with your Republican colleagues on the House Intelligence Committee? I know you're not a member, that he should resign as chairman?
Look, I don't want to get in. I don't like doing the whole everybody should resign or this. I want to just get past all this. I want to give the president, finally, for the first time in 2.5 years, a fair shot to be president, have an election based on issues. So I'm not going to jump out that far. I do think, frankly, if I was on the committee, I'd probably have a view that's a little bit different because, I mean, probably more supportive of the Republican side because, again, it's been 2 years of Adam Schiff saying, I have this information that I would tell you if it wasn't classified, and it doesn't exist. So, I'm disappointed because this was a very bipartisan committee up until recently.
All right, let's talk about a substantive issue that's very close to your heart right now, illegal immigration into the United States. You were recently deployed to the border between Arizona and Mexico with the Air National Guard. Do you want President Trump to completely shut down the border with Mexico next week, as he is now saying will happen if there is any continued illegal immigration into the United States from Mexico?
No, and I think, you know, look, Mexico is one of our biggest trading partners, so there would be some massive unintended consequences more than likely. I don't know what a border shutdown would actually look like. You know, does that include all traffic? I mean, I don't know. What I do know, though, is this. There is a real problem on the border. I saw it personally. If you talk to the experts, not the people that put on a windbreaker and go to the border and say, I'm an expert now because I've been to the border, people that are involved in these operations, it's a serious issue. And I'll tell you, Wolf, where I come from on this. I'm actually what people used to call a moderate on immigration. I want border security, and I want to fix the whole immigration process, including the people that are here illegally, find a way for them to stay. But we are way talking past each other now. We have people that don't accept that there's a problem with illegal immigration, and we have people that are unwilling to talk to the other side about what do we do with the folks that are here? You can't deport everybody. We need to all take a deep breath. We need to speak differently about this and fix this issue, because it is not compassionate for somebody in El Salvador, for instance, to spend their entire life savings of $7,000, give it to the drug cartel, to have the drug cartel mule them into the United States, a good chance of being sexually assaulted on the way, and then abandoned in the desert to die. That is not compassionate. There's a way we can fix this, but we got to get out of our political corners on this.
Yeah, you got to get comprehensive immigration reform, which I know you would support. You did hear just a little while ago the president mock these asylum seekers who are coming into the United States, saying they're all being coached by lawyers to pretend they're really afraid of the conditions back home, whether in El Salvador, Guatemala, or Honduras. Do you think these asylum seekers who enter the United States are simply faking?
No, look, I'm not sure if the president mocked him. I'll be honest, I didn't watch his speech. But I think there is truth to the fact that they are being coached of how to come here and declare asylum as a way, in essence, to keep from having to do it a different way. I have a deep amount of compassion for people in Central and South America and Mexico that are coming to the United States for a better way of life. I'm very familiar with those regions. It's a tough place to be. And I would love to see the United States, as we're doing in Venezuela, work with the people of these areas to create a better way of life so they don't want to flee their homeland. Most of them probably love being in El Salvador or Honduras more than they want to come to the United States. But at the same time, as a country, we have to have a system that's not abused. We can have a generous immigration system, but not one that just says if you live in a bad environment, come to the United States, because, you know, frankly, we have to be able to control that part of it.
I'm going to play that little clip of the president mocking these asylum seekers. Listen to this.
They're all met by the lawyers, and they say the following phrase: I am very afraid for my life. I am afraid for my life. Okay. And then I look at the guy. He looks like he just got out of the ring. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. He's afraid for it. It's a big, fat con job, folks. It's a big, fat con job.
All right, you want to react to that?
Well, look, as I said, I'm not sure if that's directly mocking these folks, besides understanding the fact that some of them are coached. But look, I have a real heart for what's happening in Central and South America and Mexico. But I also think that our asylum laws are being abused. And we see right now we have so many folks that we are holding that we're now releasing them out into the middle of the United States with basically a promised court date a year into the future. That can't be the right way to do immigration. So, like I said, Mexico has got to step up. Frankly, a lot of these countries should be declaring asylum in Mexico because that's the next country. And then we have to work with these nations as best we can to give them a better way of life. Because I think there's nothing more sad than somebody from, say, Guatemala or Honduras feeling like they have to leave their home because they're not safe. So I have a ton of compassion. But I think we all are talking past each other in this. And frankly, we all agree on about 80% of this.
I want to thank you, Congressman Kinzinger, for your service with the International. I know you served also in Afghanistan with the U.S. Air Force as well. Thanks so much for joining us.
You bet, Wolf. Thank you.